Hello, Mr. Jones. It's Chad and his son here. I'm his son, and Chad will be here in a couple minutes. But we're going to be talking to you on the chemistry of soap. Okay, let's get right into it. So, a couple definitions to start off. First of all, a surfactant, which is short for a surface active agent. Um, it's a molecule that contains both a lipophilic and hydrophilic end, and which are attracted to fats and water respectively. And the next one is soap, which is a combination of a fatty acid and an alkali, and that works as a surfactant. Detergent is the combination of a hydrocarbon chain, a chemical, and an alkali or lye, which is most of the time NaOH, but it can also be KOH, and that also acts as a surfactant. Hydrophilic, which is water loving, and a hydrophilic molecule is a molecule that will readily mix with water, and a hydrophobic or a water fearing molecule will not readily mix with will readily it will readily mix with oil. Okay. So for the soap making process, slope soap is made from triglycerides and lye. A triglyceride is made up of a glycerin backbone and it has three fatty acid chains. Kind of makes like an E shape. The fatty acid chains are made up of a carboxylic acid group and a hydrocarbon chain. Lye is a strongly alkaline solution, especially potassium hydroxide or NaOH. Or potassium hydroxide is KOH, but lye can also be NaOH as well. The fatty acids separate from the glycerin and bond with the lye to make soap, and it leaves behind glycerin. Glycerin is a very good moisturizer, so that's why real soap is a good moisturizer. Okay, so this is just a little diagram of it. You can see the triglyceride here, fat, and you see the fatty acid. You see the fatty acids here. And that's the hydrocarbon chain, and this is the carboxylic acid group. And it'll bond with the lye to create soap, and it leaves behind glycerin, which acts as the moisturizer. Okay, so the detergent making process. Detergent is made from a hydrocarbon chain, which is this little blue piece, just the little blue piece here. It's made from a hydrocarbon chain, a chemical compound, and lye. And instead of reacting with the whole triglyceride, only the hydrocarbon chain from the fatty acid is used, leaving out glycerin in the carboxylic acid group, which is why detergents tend to be harsher on the skin because they clear away the natural oils, but they don't put anything to replace it. Whereas soap leaves behind the glycerin, which so when you use detergents, it normally dries out the skin. That's why we use conditioner and things like that after we uh, clean ourselves. um, the hydrocarbon chain reacts with a chemical such as sulfur trioxide, sulfuric acid, or ethylene oxide, and it makes the hydrophilic end of the surfactant. Then the hydrocarbon chain and the chemical reacts with lye, and the detergent is complete. Okay, so this is just a diagram of the detergent making process. You have a chemical here. It bonds with the hydrocarbon chain, and it makes the synthetic new acid. This is what the fatty acid would be if we were making soap. And then that combines with the lye, here NaOH, and you make yourself detergent. Okay, so there's some differences between soap and detergent. Soap is a long chain of fatty acids with NaOH, also known as lye. It gives a lather in soft water only, and we'll tell you the difference between those two in the next slide. It's biodegradable in nature, whereas detergent is a hydrocarbon chain derived from a fatty acid with a chemical and a lye. It gives lather in both soft and hard water, and it is not biodegradable in nature. So that concludes my part of this presentation, and I'll give it off to my number one boy, Chad.
Yo, it's your boy, Chad, number one. Chobby Chawin, yo. Let's dive right in. J-Dawg? Yeah, you. Alright. Hard versus soft water. Hard water is water that contains an appreciable amount of dissolved minerals as opposed to soft water being treated water and not having much minerals in it.
So, how does soap dissolve both polar and nonpolar substances? Well, on one end of a soap molecule, there is a hydrophilic end, which means it's water loving, as my homeboy Parker just said recently. And on the other end, the tail, if you will, there's a hydrophobic end, which means it fears water and prefers oil or the grease meister. So,
Sorry about that. I got Giggles McGee to my right. So, as I was saying, um, yeah, hydrophobic prefers grease and oil, and hydrophilic prefers water. So here's the holy matrimony of the two big boys. We got the polar region right here, where the yellow thing is around, which means it wants water, as it clearly states, and then the non-polar region, where it wants oils and grease and other lipid substances. So we failed quite a few times. And here are the ingredients. We used extra virgin olive oil in our first and last failed attempts. The last one we just used olive oil and it still failed. Then we also used vegetable oil for 2 attempts. And we used canola oil as a substitute for vegetable oil in one of our attempts as well. And coconut oil was there since day 1 for all the 3 ones. And we also used lye mixed with distilled and purified water. That was used in all the attempts. Here are the ingredients we used in our successful attempts. The king himself, J-Dawg, gave us some nice meaty lard from the fridge he has. And we used 151 grams of the lard. We also used 47.3 grams of distilled water. And we also used 19 grams of lye. On to the next one. So here's a big old meaty procedure that we used for the lard one. So I'm just going to breeze right on through it. All right, so first we gathered the necessary materials. We got 19 grams of lye, put in a little plastic boat. We tared it. We tared the beaker, poured water in the beaker. We tared the beaker and put lard in the beaker. Measured all the right amounts, and we set it aside. We then got out a big old hot plate, turned that bad boy on to 10, and then we started melting the lard so it got into a liquid suitable for the lye to mix into it. And then we poured the lye in the water, and that got pretty piping, so we had to cool it down, let it sit there. And then okay, sorry about that. And so then we poured the lye into the lard, or when they both got to the right amount of temperature, which was 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, about 95 to 105 Fahrenheit, we poured the lye into the lard liquid, and then we stirred it for about 5 minutes to make sure all the lye got in contact with all the lard. And then finally, we poured the lye and lard mixture into 3 plastic boats we used as molds, and we are going to leave them there to solidify overnight. And a wise man once said, "Thanks so much for watching."
Okay, so we just added sodium hydroxide crystals to ice cold water. It was 19 grams of the sodium hydroxide, 47 grams of water, ice cold water, and it's heating up a lot. It's already gone up to like 65 degrees Celsius. And right now we're also melting tallow.
or lard.
Yeah, or lard. Or sorry, yeah, lard. And we're getting that to liquefy. And once that's fully liquefied, and these two get in the temperature range we want them to be, which is about 35 to 45 degrees Celsius, we'll combine them, and then we'll be able to add essential oil.
We got the film, but we just poured the lye water into the lard fat, and so now we're mixing it, hoping to get a relatively thick consistency.
It's called trace if it works.
We want to get a good trace. I'm Cha. Here's some soap we left here for 24 hours. Ow, burn. Lather it up. I got a lot.
See, if I just do water, it doesn't really come off. But if I use our handy dandy soap, and I really get
Copyrighted trademark.
a good
Sparkling
lather,
Chalk or
we can combine it with the water.
well it's working. It's a miracle with nature.
Please a little more.
Yeah,
A bit more.
It just cleaned my hand of oil.
holy snap.
And if I dry these bad boys, they'll feel bright as new. Actually better because they're more moisturized. Wow. You can really see them shine.
So no name. We are now making the oil concoction. I had to hold it in my mouth to do this stuff, so bear with me. What does it look like? I'm drilling.
Ew. Hold on, I can film it. I just gotta.
What great film it is.
Yeah, the camera just did a flip.
My Lord, Kumbaya. They come. What raw film we have.
We'll speed it up, probably.
So the toot's just higher pitched.
We already episode my drunk section.
Listen closely now. Ow! That's it.
Why didn't you do this first?
Cause that's gonna get all the crust on it.
Yeah, why didn't you do it first and then you put in the oil?
Cause it's gonna get all the crust on
What the
it.
hell that even mean?
Oh, my clown of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Put that.
Give me that. You helpless.
You sometimes I think, bruh, I made some soup for you.
Can I drink that shit?
Of course. What's even happening when it reacts with the water?
I guess we need to like. Definitely gonna. What?
I'm sorry, I just feel like this isn't gonna work again.
It's not, but we're doing it anyways.
I don't know what our problem is.
For the views.
I don't get it, Mr. John.
I just know it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just know damn well it's, like, nothing's gonna happen.
I'm not doing this. that thing is gone. Like you have no
What?
coconut oil.
Oh yeah. I can't lather myself up before I shower.
What do you like use it for in cooking?
Lathering myself up before I shower.
No, in cooking.
I don't know. It's probably some like vegan healthy alternative or something.
Chad don't cook.
Hell no. I could craft mac and cheese.
I put that in.
Oh, this going in. Yeah. Slap a joke.
I mixed that. Like, cool down.
Mix in the pot.
Mix it like a human being, Chad.